And when you speak about the responsibilities of the finance sector that personally you know so well, can you make some practical examples what you mean?
Yeah, well, the first is that we need three R's, if I can put it that way. First, we need information reporting of all companies that is consistent and comprehensive, that it tells what a company's carbon footprint is today, their greenhouse gas footprint today, scope 1, scope 2, so in power, but as well as scope 3, all the way across their supply chain. We need that information not just about what the company has today, but where it plans to go, what its strategy is to reduce those emissions over time, and how resilient its strategy, its business strategy is to the types of improved climate policies that we've seen, for example, from the European Union. Is that good or bad for the company? Is the company getting out ahead of the adjustment that's required? So that's the first thing. We need reporting. We need that to be comprehensive. We need it to be mandatory. So we want processes like the European Union's disclosure initiative to be replicated around the world in various forms, so that we move something that came from Paris, and I worked with Mike Bloomberg on this, which developed private voluntary standards for this, and it moves them from private and voluntary to public and mandatory. The second thing we need from the private sector is to develop the risk management techniques, particularly within the banks around climate. And so this is managing the risks of the transition, so anticipating which companies will benefit from the transition and which ones need to adjust their strategies, or which are at risk, perhaps at risk because they will have assets that are no longer economic as we move towards net zero, and think in the energy sector particularly. So they need to develop that. The central banks and the supervisors have to help them develop that through something called stress testing. And we're working with the Banque d'Italia, the Banque de France, the Netherlands Bank, other People's Bank of China, Bank of Brazil, to develop these techniques and help the private sector help themselves. And the third thing we need is the private sector to come direct and openly to all of us, everyone watching, their money, and it describe how that money is supporting or not the transition towards net zero. So what proportion of the money is invested in companies that have plans to transition to net zero? What proportion of the money is contributing to warming of the temperature less than 2 degrees? What proportion is contributing to warming of the temperature above 2 degrees? Now, some of our most sophisticated institutions already do that. We want to spread that across the sector.